So, my name is Marissa. Hey, I am definitely excited to be doing this. I want to tell you guys why I have Kristina here today and why it's really important to me that we get to talk about this today. So I'm going to go back a little bit in time. So a few years ago, I started my body positive journey, I guess you would say. I always felt like I was body positive until I started kind of questioning things that I would do, like overthinking what I was wearing, overthinking what I looked like in the mirror. And then I was like, well, am I really body positive? Like, what is that? And so I had to start researching for myself what it was. Because I don't want to live a lie. So I had to start researching what it was. And through my research, I started to find different things. And one of the things that I found was, as doing my research of body positivity, I found different words that I had no idea what they meant at the time. And a lot of them were like fat phobia. And I was just like, that's a funny word. And as soon as I heard it, I remember I was like, this is a joke. Because I was like, I'm fat and somebody has a phobia of me. Like, that's a joke, right? It's a real thing. And we're going to talk about that today. And then I heard things about like diet culture. And I heard words like thin privilege and all these different things. And I was like, these people out their minds. Like, they think they think that we're really going to get away with this. Like, what is this, you know? And so I was very open at the time because I, like I said, was practicing my journey in body positivity and wanted to be more positive about myself and just accepting myself for who I was, what I look like, what I am on the inside, what I'm on the outside. Like, that was part of my journey. And in doing that, I came across all that stuff and I was like, what is this? And it looks crazy to me. Like, this is crazy. But like I said, being open to it, I wanted to find out more. So I started doing more research. And a lot of my research was like on Google, YouTube, Instagram. And I came across people like Christy Harrison. And I came across people like Kristina Bruce and some more Instagrammers and like people who do podcasts. And I was like, oh my God, like it opened up a whole new world to me. And I was like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? Because this is everything that I used to think when I was little or like when I was young. And it's not what I think anymore. And why is that? Like, why don't I think like this anymore? And like, what is this? And I don't know. It opened a whole new world. It's a whole totally different world. And immediately I was like, oh my God, I got to post this. I got to share this with people because this is so good. Like, people got to know they're being fooled and like they're being tricked. And I was like, yeah, like you want to share it. You want to shout at the top of the mountain and let everybody know, like, don't listen to it. It's a lie. They're lying to you. But I kept it because I was like, man, this is going to scare people, because I was scared. And it took me years to finally realize and to finally see what this was and what it was about. So this is why I have Kristina on here, because going across Kristina's page, I saw all these different things that she was posting. And I was like, oh my God, like she's saying stuff that I'm thinking, or she's saying things that I'm relating to. I don't know her, but it's like she's reading my mind. And there's other people commenting like, oh my God, that's how I feel and all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, like there's something here. And I've been feeling this way for a long time. And now that I can see it and I'm not alone, it's like, wow, like there's more to this. And I'm still on a journey for this. I'm still trying to find out what that is. So this is why I have Kristina here. And thank you guys so much who are coming here just to support us, just to come and watch. Thank you guys who already know what body acceptance is or body positivity. And thank you to those who don't know or who think they kind of know, but you're open to learning, because it's like I said, it's a whole new world. And even talking just to me and Kristina today, you're not probably going to get all the answers that you want. You probably, this probably might not change your life forever, but I hope that it encourages you to go a certain way, or I hope that it helps guide you to the right like decisions to make for yourself. So I'm really excited. So here we go. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm so excited. Kristina said yes. They're all clapping right now, Kristina. So Kristina, go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know like what it is that you do, and Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
So, Marissa, so happy that you asked me to do this live with you, and so happy that we finally got it working.
Took a minute.
So everybody, I'm Kristina Bruce. If you're not all following me on Instagram, that's cool, and feel free to head on over there and do that and get more a sense of kind of what I'm about. But I'm a body acceptance coach. So what I do is I am an advocate of health at every size and intuitive eating. You would put me in the body positive world too. But I work one-on-one with people who are just really ready, like they're just tired of the constant wanting their body to be different, wanting it to be thinner, wanting to be fitter. Been doing maybe all the diets, all the cleanses, all the lifestyles, and they're just like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm done. Like, can I just not feel good about myself? How do I do that? And so I work one-on-one with women particularly, because I think unfortunately in our world, this right now affects women or people who identify as female more so in our culture than it does men right now. But sadly, it's growing for men too. This pressure to look a certain way and this insecurity. So when you start to step away from everything that you've been doing, or that, certainly that I'd been doing, to look a different way, you can kind of feel lost. Like, what do I do now? And it can be really, really scary. So I offer that support. And I do it through different ways. Like, I do my Instagram feed, I share, mainly it's done in memes and like quote and just like my sort of thoughts for the day or week or whatever about this stuff I post. But I also write a blog on my website. So usually once a month I write a blog post. I also do a Q&A video. So if people have questions about, how do I handle, for example, when people are commenting, like they say I lost weight, and I'm trying to kind of recover from that. Like, how do I handle that? So I'll sort of address those questions. And then one-on-one through personal coaching over the phone. It's like over the phone, but it's over Zoom, but no video. We just talk. And through email support as well. And we just start to dive in really deep to start to look at, like, why do I feel this way to begin with? Like, why do I hate my body? Where did that come from, and what can I do about it?
Yeah. And I remember, and the way I kind of got in contact with Kristina at first was she actually does a trial session, right?
Yeah. So anybody who's curious about coaching or what it's about, I do like a 30-minute free consultation. So we can just talk about like where you're at, what you're looking for, and to see if it's something like there's no obligation to do anything. It's just to see where you're at, and if coaching is something that you want to pursue, if we're the right fit for it. Because just like you go to, a therapist or a doctor, you may not resonate with everybody. So I want to make sure that it's the right fit for both of us, so that it's a good relationship.
Yes. And and it's a great consultation. I recommend, if you guys are interested, to try it out. She has the link and everything to her blogs and to her website and her profile. You can get how much the cost is for the sessions from her as well when you guys talk and stuff. But in the consultation, it's very comfortable. You just get to talk and find out where you're at, just like she said. And I felt very comfortable, and I was like, hey, so I'm not sure how to do this. Hi. But it was very comfortable, and she made me feel very comfortable. So if you guys are interested in getting a consultation with her, just try it. I just tried it out because I was just like, I want to see what this is and what it's about. And she's very helpful. So I would say try it out.
Yeah, if you go to my website, Kristina Bruce, K-R-I, Kristina.
Thank you.
.com, KristinaBruce.com, and if you just click on coaching, you'll see what my coaching packages are, and then the price is just listed there.
Yes, and we'll go ahead and I'll put your website and your Instagram inside my inside my stories after the chat, so you guys could go ahead and go to there and click on it, and also her IG name and stuff.
Cool.
All right. So, as Kristina told you, she is a body acceptance coach. She does a lot of stuff, even with body positivity, like she mentioned. And so I just wanted her to talk about that. And Kristina, I wanted to ask you, like, what made you get into this? What made you decide that you wanted to be a body acceptance coach?
Yeah. So, it really started with, and I think with a lot of people who do this kind of work, we start with our own experience and our own struggles and our own journey. I would say, you know, growing up as a young person, like I was never in a thin body. I would say like maybe a medium-sized body, but you know, it would fluctuate up and down when I was young. But I would, it didn't take me long to really internalize as a young girl that thin was something that was good. And, you know, the women in my family, like some were fat, some were really large, but they were all like on diets, you know, trying to lose weight constantly. And so I just picked up pretty, like, and I could see the difference. So for example, my sister, she was thinner than me, and my family would always kind of compliment her on that, but then they wouldn't on me, you know? And so I just started to pick up like, so if I'm thinner, that's better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have to say though, growing up, like throughout high school, I was always really active in sports and activities. So like I might have thought about my body and was like, oh, it'd probably be better if I was thinner, but I was too busy to really care that much, you know? And so I just, and even all through university. But it was once I graduated university, I was kind of like out on my own for the first time. And there was just this part of me that was like, I want to do this. Like, I just want to be thinner, you know? And I think like when we grow up too in our culture, especially as, you know, as young women in this like heteronormative culture, there's always this idea of, you know, if you get the guy, like it's all about getting the guy and like being the hot girl. And so I never felt like I experienced that growing up, you know, like I wanted that, like I wanted to know what that felt like. And so when I graduated, I went ahead and did that. And for the most part, it wasn't like I did any crash diet. Like I just started, you know, watching what I was eating and exercising more. And then I lost weight. And it happened. And all of a sudden, I started noticing I was like getting all this attention. Like I could like walk into a bar and then like all the guys would look at me, and that never happened to me in my life. And I was like, okay, I like this, you know, like, and I mean, kind of the worst part too was like there was a group of guys, like of friends, and there was like guys in this, and some of the guys would say, like one of the guys said to me, like, oh yeah, like we talk about like how you've gotten hot now. And I was like, oh, okay. So like on the one hand, it was good, but then on the other hand, it was like, so you really didn't like me as much before. And so it really solidified now that I needed to maintain this thinness in order to be accepted, in order to be seen as attractive. So that really, it was a huge thing in my mind. Like, I can't say I was ever relaxed at that point about my body. Like, it was always about working hard to stay thin. And then I became certified as a yoga instructor. And that's like a whole world where, you know, you look at the cover of Yoga Journal magazine and you're going to just see like yoga, like models. Like a lot of them are probably models. I don't know this for sure, but they're
when you see the
models.
yoga magazine, everybody's super fit, got still, and like
super flexible. It's like, do you all work for Cirque du Soleil?
Right. Where did you guys all come from? This is familiar. Okay, yoga. No, but that is
you get this idea that like this is what you're supposed to look like. So now it's added pressure, right? So that went on for a while. And I would say that things really kind of started, and I did like all the diets, by the way, you know, like, and I fell it down into what I like to call the wellness well, which is like when you go deeper, like you just kind of get more into it. So I was like, no sugar for a while. And I don't know, like whatever the health trend of the day was, like I was,
Yeah.
and I don't know if my dad's actually watching, but it looks like he is right now. So hi, Dad. I must have drove my parents crazy with like the latest, you know, diet of the week that I was on and like trying to get the whole family into it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah.
I'm pretty
And
sure we've
so,
all been like, yeah.
yeah, like preaching the latest, you
Yeah.
know, health kick that we're
This
on.
is the one. This is the one though.
This,
Like
this
that other one, they researched it. This one's better. This is gonna be the one. We all gonna do it.
Oh yeah. And then like I remember when I was really into it, I gave a talk at a conference where I was like, all right, everybody, here's the deal. It's all about sugar. It is bad. You're going to be hearing about it forever now. It's the devil and here's why. And I just like told everybody why it was a problem. And anyways, I could get into sugar as a whole other story, but let's fast forward. Things really didn't start to change for me until my partner moved in with me. Okay. And so this is when like my disordered eating and fixation really kind of came into my awareness, because when I was living on my own, I could control everything that I ate. I could exercise whenever I wanted. I was on my schedule and it didn't bother, I was fine with it because who was I bothering? But now my partner moved in with me and we wanted to start making meals together. And he would make a meal and I'd like freak out if he gave me a little bit more food than I was allowed, you know, calories at that point. Well, now I couldn't like keep up with my hour-long workouts every time I got home after work because, oh, I don't know, maybe I'd want to like sit and actually participate in a relationship, you know? And so it started to become apparent to me. And then my mood swings would start to like become evident. So because constant state of semi-starvation.
Yeah.
Like when I was counting my calories, when I was limiting what I was eating, that was a constant state of semi-starvation. So when I came home, if dinner wasn't like freaking on the table now, blow up.
Yeah.
Like blow up. And my poor partner would get the brunt of it.
The mood swings are real. When you're on a diet and like, also I want you to break down diet later too. And it's like things that I've probably already said before, but since I have you here, like I want to hear it in your words, but breaking down just what a diet is, because a lot of people think, oh, diet, Slim Fast, Atkins, Weight Watchers, but there's, it's more to it. But yeah, those mood swings with diets are just the worst. They bring out the ugly side in us.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just like, I think what ended up happening was I would go on these binges, you know, like I'd always say, so the whole no sugar thing happened because I did this test online on this like popular, I'm not even going to say who it is, but this popular, it's a diet plan and they're like, oh, do this test and you'll find out if you're addicted to sugar. Okay. And so I did it. And out of like a scale of 1 to 10, I was a 7.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm pretty addicted. Like, and I was like, thank God, because now I know what's wrong with me. Like, this is why I can't just eat a cookie. I need to eat all the cookies. Yeah. Or this is why I can't just have a bowl of cereal. I need to eat the box. And that's what would happen, right? So we were told that like, this is the problem is because of certain foods, but really the problem was because I was restricting so much. So I can get into kind of what that is, but long story short, the effort to try to keep my weight off became obsessive. Yeah. You know, I weigh myself every day. Yeah. If I gained a pound, that would ruin my day. You know, got to a point, like I would burst into tears crying, like because oh my God, I gained weight.
It's devastating. Yeah.
And so it finally got to a point, and like I was sharing with you before, Marissa, when I came across like intuitive eating and health at every size, I found it because I'm looking at how do I stop binge eating. I didn't know that it was because I was actually restricting. I thought it was like something wrong with me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're told, right? We're told that like it's our fault. I came
across. It's not the diet. It's you. It's you.
Willpower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like I just don't have another way to cope with my emotions, and so therefore the only way that I know how is by food. And although that's could be a possibility, but and again, there's more to say on that. I came across Isabel Fox and Duke, who specializes in binge eating. And she was like, yeah, you really kind of just need to allow yourself to eat whatever you want. And it's you're restricting, that's the problem. And that scared the crap out of me. Because I was like, I can't gain weight. Like, what are you talking about? Forget this. So it took a year of being with my partner and him having to deal with all of my crap, and to where I could realize like this just isn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
And this is actually, like at the time I was really also in my own personal and spiritual development journey. So I was like coming more into myself, and I thought, how can I really be myself if I'm trying to be something else that I'm not?
Right.
And it just didn't, like they hit up against each other, you know? And so then I stopped. I just like one day made a declaration.
Yeah.
Went with my friends for dinner, my closest friends, and told them like, I'm not doing this anymore. And they all cheered. Like they were all so happy that I was like not going to be about it and eating whatever I want.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. But then it became like a good year-long plus roller coaster ride of moving away from disordered eating and recovering from it to where I am today. So long story short, I hope that wasn't too long, Marissa. Sorry if I kept talking.
No, you're good. You are so good. It's very nice to hear you say some of that stuff because it is relatable for a lot of people. And it looks like some people are even commenting and asking questions. So before we move into like breaking down the other stuff, is it cool if we read some of those real quick?
Absolutely.
So I gotta scroll. So somebody says, I got a lot of my, sorry, it's hard to read it too because I got a lot of backlash on my recent post when I stated that unfollowed 2 of my friends who are promoting weight loss plans being fat positive. Was that too harsh? Was that too harsh to unfollow people who promoted weight loss plans?
So that's the question?
Yeah.
Like, was it too harsh to unfollow friends who
are preaching about weight loss plans?
So, no.
Yeah, no.
You know, this is, like, here's the thing. We're in diet culture, right? So our world in Western culture, at least for sure, is absolutely obsessed and bonkers about weight loss. And you're stepping away from that, and especially from disordered eating, it's really difficult to try to make progress if you're just constantly being bombarded with weight loss messages. So I've unfollowed a whole bunch of people that are preaching and are totally like their life is about this certain diet. I can't follow them.
Yeah.
Because it's not good for me to do that.
Exactly.
So that's self-care. That's self-care.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. I have, and it's hard sometimes. I have some friends who do promote certain things, but those are my friends, so I'm going to support them. But if it's other people who come from like left field with like, oh, try this or try that. My friends, the ones that I do support, don't really force anything like that on me. But if there are people who are I saw that quote one time. I can't remember which one it was, and a lot of you already probably seen it. But it's like, be careful who you follow. If there's anybody that you're following that makes you feel like you need to change, you should probably unfollow them. and sometimes people post stuff and it's not good for your mental health because it gets into your subconscious. Like, you don't know, but we're scrolling every day, and you already got to deal with enough stuff in your explore section. And then when you go on your own personal one and you see that you're not good enough and you got to be this size, or you're not, like all these different things, and you're following that, you're kind of putting yourself in that position and yourself in that mental state. So yeah, I don't think there's a problem at all with you unfollowing them. That's totally fine.
And so, Marissa, like you said, I want to support my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because you unfollow them, it doesn't mean that you don't still care about them and love as a friend. It's just
right.
It's just what the message that they're saying is in contrast to and hurtful to what you're trying to do in your life.
Yes.
So
yes.
Just as long as you make that clear, and it's like, I still love you as a friend, but these two ideas just don't work anymore for me.
It's kind of like when you're trying to stop drinking so much and you got somebody who's promoting alcohol. When you're trying to stop listening to diet culture and you have somebody who's promoting it, it's going to affect you. It's probably going to pull you in a little bit more again. Because Kristina talked about this before, sometimes we even struggle with kind of not overthink, but you think twice, and then you got to think 3 times and be like, nah, this is it. We're on the right track. I agree with you, Kristina. Definitely got to be careful with what we're putting in our minds. There's another one here. Malnourishment is a real thing, and it will affect your moods 100%. I think that's when we're talking about the moody side of diets. Somebody said this is Jen, being married to someone with a healthy relationship with food has really shown me how serious my own disordered eating is. Wow. That's really good, Jen. Because I can totally relate to that. Was when I didn't even know, when I started realizing what diet culture was, and then being with somebody who doesn't care about their weight, somebody who has no idea what it is to stress over their weight and see the way they eat, how they eat whatever they feel to eat, was a huge eye-opener.
And that was like when my partner moved in. That was
like your story that you just told.
He's just like, what? I'll just eat what I want, and I just kind of exercise whenever I want. And
yes,
contrast, and he wasn't binging like I was, because he never restricted like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that helped to see too that it was pretty much.
She said it was super relatable to your story. So thank you for sharing your story, Kristina. Someone else said that too. It is so relatable. Yes, that's 2 people. Sorry, I realized it was badly written. No, they were promoting weight loss while still saying that they are body positive and fat positive. Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's another story too, but we know exactly what you're talking about. Those who promote weight loss and at the same time they're body positive.
That's a big, and I don't know, I think that might have been Jen who posted that. Jen, I'm not sure if
Jen, yeah.
There's kind of an area that's happening right now where, and I think actually, Jen, maybe you commented on this earlier on another post. I think maybe I chatted with you about this. It's people who have been promoting themselves as body positive on their Instagram, and then all of a sudden they'll start promoting weight loss, and it's like, whoa, what just happened? And it can be really disappointing when that happens. And it goes to show kind of just how strong weight stigma is in our culture, and how if you really haven't done the internal work yourself to really dig into your own issues with body image and disordered eating and whatnot, it can come back in.
Yeah.
And so people are now co-opting body positivity, or saying, and that's just muddling up the message.
Yeah.
So no, if you're promoting weight loss, you're not body positive, I don't believe, and you're certainly, I can't see how you would say that you're fat accepting if you're promoting weight loss.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that too, about how weight loss does fit into diet culture and why we don't think it's body positive. Some people will state their opinion and say they do think it's body positive. But we're going to get into that too. There was actually, and Kristina, remind me about this later when we do start talking about it. There was something that I saw the other day where they said, how can you, it's okay to be body positive, but you still got to remember that you still have weight to lose. You know what I mean? Like, you can be body positive, but you should also know that there's an unhealthy weight. And that's where diet culture comes in. We're going to break that down for you guys. So please stay on here because it all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. Relating to this question, somebody asked, what are the positive ways to be able to change this mentality of the weight stigmas? What are the positive ways to be able to change the mentality of the weight stigmas?
So
like your own mentality? Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of wondering if they're asking like how do you kind of stay positive about it, or how do you change it? Like if you think that fat is bad, how do you change it?
Yeah. It's okay. Go ahead and clarify. There's a few more questions on here. We're gonna come back to them. Kristina, we should go ahead and get into what diet culture is and kind of break that down for everybody. I think that's gonna help us to digest a lot of the parts when Kristina's answering your questions. It's gonna help you to take that down a little bit easier once we kind of break that down. So Kristina, yeah, go ahead and just explain to us what diet culture is.
Yeah, it's, I can't say that I'm like know what an official definition of diet culture is, but I can at least what my understanding of it is. Diet culture is, if you're living in this Western world, like you're in it. This is what's happening. It's where so diet culture has as its roots weight stigma. And what weight stigma is, it's discrimination, it's stereotypes, and it's a bias towards people who are living in larger bodies. So it's where kind of there's the be all and end all is about maintaining a body that is acceptable. In our culture, in our diet culture, the medical community uses the BMI, which is the body mass index, as a way to say whether bodies are normal or overweight or obese. Use those in quotes because there's some huge problems with the BMI. So before I even get into that, diet culture is also then where we judge people, their qualities as a person, like this is part of these stereotypes based on how they look, and also what they eat. And we equate food and our activity levels with morality. So we end up saying, that's why we say there's good foods and there's bad foods. Like they're not good or bad. We make moral decisions on what people are eating and what they're not eating. So in this diet culture, we also police what everybody else is doing.
Right. And for what? I still don't know, but
yeah. And it also, diet culture also puts a hierarchy of bodies.
Yes.
So it says
it definitely does.
Yeah. So it says at the top, it's a thin, white, heterosexual, usually male, is like the top of the body hierarchy.
Right.
And if you stray from that in any way, you kind of start to like go down the ladder. Yeah. And so diet culture also reinforces this body hierarchy. And so when people talk about body positivity, it's about accepting your body and loving your body at whatever size you are. But it also highlights that we bring into that all bodies are good bodies. Yeah. And so it's not just about your own relationship with your body. It's also acknowledging systems of oppression that exist within our culture that marginalizes some bodies.
Yes.
So disabled bodies, Black bodies, brown bodies, women. If you're LGBTQ,
it gets worse the more you got. Yeah, the more you have against you. Yeah, no, it really does. Sorry, go ahead.
Right, and so woven into our institutions. So like our medical system is highly fat phobic and stigma.
Yes.
Even though it's not actually proven, and this is where we can get into this part, it's not proven that weight in and of itself negatively impacts your health. There's not a single piece of research that proves that. There's a big difference between, you hear a lot now, correlation and causation. So here's an example of correlation.
Yes, please.
There's a higher chance that people will die of drowning at the same places where there's really high ice cream sales. So like where they sell a lot of ice cream, those people are at a higher risk of drowning. So it's like, would you say that if you eat a lot of ice cream, like, I don't know, somehow it affects your ability to swim and you're more likely to drown?
Yeah.
But there's a correlation. So it means one thing happens in the presence of another.
Okay.
What it actually just means is there's a lot of ice cream sales near water. So more likely to drown in the pool or at the beach
than you are to be eating ice cream.
Exactly. Or here's kind of another more like concrete example. There's a correlation between people who have yellow teeth and lung cancer. So would we say that yellow teeth causes lung cancer? No, but one thing happens in the presence of another. But what we know, and it's been proven, is that smoking causes lung cancer.
Yeah.
Smoking also causes yellow teeth. But we don't now whiten our teeth in hopes of not getting lung cancer.
Yeah.
So where we're skewed right now is we lose weight in order to get healthier. But it's not the weight loss that actually makes us healthier. And that's where things are screwed up right now.
Yeah. Wow. I'm taking in what you just said. What you just said was very heavy and it was very true. Yes. Sorry, I really took that one in because I was just like, yeah, it's so, it has nothing to do with your weight. And a lot of people believe that it does, and we even believed that it does. And you know, we keep trying to lose weight to be healthy, and people are like, oh, you know, I can't be overweight because I gotta be or I gotta lose weight so I can be healthy. But like you're saying, you can't just lose weight to be healthy. No, you really can't.
And so the BMI scale, which is what is used right now to determine if somebody is like overweight or obese.
Yeah.
Like couple things to know. Do you know about the history of the BMI? Do you want me to like talk about it? Because it's
talk about the BMI, and then you have some comments on here. Sorry guys, I'm still gonna go back to those questions, but just comments that said, they said, I love those examples, and can you please come to Bermuda and say that to the misinformed people here?
I'd love to come to Bermuda. Just 7 o'clock and I'm there.
Right. Yeah, no, there's a lot of misinformed people, and we know because we were misinformed. You know, it's not just like we're pointing fingers and saying da 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 da, like you, and trying to preach this down anybody's throat. We're just talking about our experiences with this, and how it's opened our eyes to something more. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the BMI. Go for it, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this as short as I can. The BMI is a scale that it was created by a Belgian mathematician back in the 1800s, a way that he could just categorize population groups.
Yeah.
He like literally came up with this formula that was never intended. Firstly, he wasn't a doctor. It was never intended to be used as an individual marker of health.
Wait, hold up. Say that again. You said he wasn't a doctor?
No, he was a mathematician. He was a statistician.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you see my face the first time I've ever heard of this?
Yeah. This
my God.
like so good. It blew my mind. Like just like you, I was like, tell me what? You know, like the first.
Yeah, say it again. You got to say that one more time. I was like, wait, what?
No, not a doctor. So he was tasked with like categorizing population size, and so he just came up with this formula. Like I forget what the formula is. It's weight and height times squared, or I don't know, something like that. It is. It is not. It was never meant to be used as a marker of health. Jen's just asking, will you leave this live up? She needs to go to bed.
Yes, Jen. And we're gonna when Kristina's done, Kristina, all you have to do is click share, and then we'll figure out how to save it to your thing later. I'm trying to record it from mine, but it should be on Kristina's page when we're done.
All right, cool. Thanks for staying up, Jen. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone who's staying here. And if we didn't get to your questions yet, come watch it later because we're still going to answer those questions. And if you got to fast forward to what you already saw, cool thing about Instagram Live, you just got to keep tapping and it'll take you into segments so you guys could see those questions answered later.
All right, so here's some more mind-blowing information.
My mind is blown.
On
Good night.
BMI. So you've got this, right? You got this chart that's just like, firstly, just so. Oh, and also it had categorized men only. Okay, so not women or children. Like it was just men. So we already know that women's bodies are very different than men, and we also carry more weight naturally, like fat and whatnot on our bodies. So let's do that. So, Dr. Linda Bacon, who wrote Health at Every Size, the book, if you haven't read it, everybody needs to read it.
I literally have that book right here. And yeah, I'm still trying to finish it, but it's a really good book. I love it. I love the book.
Yeah, so she shared this story of, and I want to say it was back in the 60s. She was on this committee her thesis advisor, she was like doing her PhD, was on this committee to put recommendations forward to the US government on the markers on the BMI. Like, you know, like right now it's like 18.5 to I think 25 is normal. Like 25 to 30 is overweight and 30 plus is obese. So she was putting forward, the advisor was putting forward these recommendations to what should the scale be, like numbers. And when they did their research, they said, actually, it should be much bigger. So like what they noticed was that size didn't impact health. Like it didn't begin to impact health until people reached the 40 marker on the BMI.
Yeah.
Okay, so like that's really high. And are you okay? Is something going on?
Yeah, what I'm trying to do right now, sorry, is there's a lot of people coming in. And I'm trying to just post in here what we're talking about real quick. And sorry, I didn't mean to distract you though. You can, if I'm distracting you, just give me 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. No worries. I'll continue on anyways.
Yeah, go for it.
For the people who are listening.
Yeah.
So anyways, long story short, because like this, I could talk about this for 10 minutes, so I won't bore everybody. But the current recommendations of what the BMI is used right now was recommend.
Oh, it's okay. Sorry, it's okay. Sorry. It's
That's
just
okay.
You have to be the one to pin it. So you just hold down my comment, and then whoever comes in, we don't have to explain anything.
You want me to hold down your comment?
Okay. Sorry for interrupting. I didn't know that was going to be so. I thought I could be discreet. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So the recommendations for the current BMI basically are in place because at the time, the only two drug companies in the world had a patented weight loss drug. So they were basically like, oh, if you keep the scale really short, essentially it benefited them on getting more clients who doctors can now recommend this weight loss drug to. Do you see what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with actual health. Like there was monetary
interest. It was weight loss. Yeah.
It was just so that some like drug companies can make some money.
Well, It sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everything today.
So
it had nothing to do with health.
that's
It had
what,
to do with losing weight.
no.
Everybody's saying wow, and like people are also getting mind blown by the stuff you're sharing right now. I know I am, guys. I'm so with you. I'm mind blown by a lot of this stuff. It's crazy. And somebody also asked you, if I can ask you, since we're on this topic still, somebody said, hold up, where'd it go? First step. What is the first step to being healthy? So, you know, we went over all that of how it's not really healthy when we're doing weight loss. And they're saying, so what is the first step to being healthy then?
Yeah, see, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes health really changes at any given time. So in our culture, we put way too much emphasis on the individual to be responsible for their health.
Mm.
There's a lot of factors that are out of our control that impact our health, like socially. So,
Yeah.
for example, if somebody doesn't make a lot of money and they're having to work 2 or 3 jobs, that's going to really impact the quality of their health. And that, you know, is likely not their fault. You know, in the US, unfortunately, if you don't have health care because of the insurance situation that you know, like your for-profit system there, that's going to impact somebody's health. So I just want to draw people's attention to what's called socioeconomic factors that influence people's health. And a lot of it, there's so much intention, and they put all of the responsibility on the person. But, you know, you can only do so much to improve your health based on the resources that you have in the time that you have, like, or in the position that you're in. So what if, like, you have to take care of a family member? You know, that's going to impact your health. Stress levels are going to impact your health. So just I want to say that firstly is to realize that, like, health isn't as in our control as we are told that it can be.
Yeah.
But what would be the first step that is in your control? And what I would say is it's starting to let go of any idea that you were told of what is healthy. So if it's like you're following a certain diet plan and you can like only eat these foods, or you have to be exercising so many times a day for so long, let all of that go. You know, toss it out the window and start to connect with what feels good for me. So if I've been told that I need to eat, I don't know, so many vegetables a day, but I hate vegetables or like these particular vegetables, maybe it's salad greens, but I'm having to like force them down my throat every day because that's healthy. Is it really healthy when I'm then in a constant state of like dissatisfaction or worry that I'm not eating enough? I'm unhappy because I hate what I'm eating. And then I end up probably binging on something else later because I've denied myself what I actually want to eat.
Yeah.
So, you know, starting to connect with what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to worry so much about eating salad and I actually just want a sandwich. That's going to be more healthy for you to like eat what you want to eat in the moment than it is to follow a prescribed food plan of what we think that we should be eating.
Yeah.
Because stress is a big factor in our health. Okay,
Yeah.
it is. We're under chronic stress that's going to negatively impact our health. And there are ways that we can remove certain stressors, like dieting. Every time we should ourselves and we tell ourselves, like, I'm bad for eating this, or, you know, or for not eating this, that's stress. That's stressful. That's like hitting yourself all the time. You're like beating yourself up. Like, is that healthy? Like, is that healthy to be like beating yourself up all day long because you did or didn't eat something?
No, it's like a roller coaster. It's
Yeah.
like, you try to do it and then you're beating yourself up and then you get really low and then you eat whatever you want because you restricted yourself and then you go back to it again. And it's just a cycle that just mentally it's messing with you, physically it's messing with you. I don't think that's healthy.
So it's like, start to tune into yourself. What do I
Yeah.
need right now?
Yeah.
Now, do I actually need to rest? Like, I love, Marissa, when you were talking about earlier, we were chatting beforehand and you were giving an example of dancing and like doing this new like dance workout.
Yeah.
And this idea of like pushing yourself. Oh, I've done like 10 minutes. I should do more. So you did 5 more minutes and you're like, oh, but maybe I should do more. But then you're like, no, I need to stop because you knew
Yeah.
you could push yourself past the point where it wasn't enjoyable anymore.
Yes.
And that's where we injure ourselves. That's where we burn ourselves out. So we
Yes.
actually become more sick and unhealthy when we're doing what we think we need to do to be healthy.
Right. And what I was fighting was my old thoughts and we're going to talk about intuitive eating, but I have my own journey with intuitive eating, but there's also, it's not just about eating, it's about also working out too. And I was telling Kristina that I had to listen to my body because most of the time when I would work out, it'd be like, okay, you got to work out, and you got to push yourself. And if you ain't throwing up, you didn't do it right. And so, you got to go hard, or else you're lazy, or, you're not living up to the standard that's set for you to be working out. Like, you got to work out. And so I told her that I decided that I wanted to get into dancing more because I wanted to move more because I felt a little sluggish. And so I don't know if Kanoa is still in here, but I've been doing this with somebody who came in here earlier. Her name's Kanoa. And so, so I have like, I'm doing like this dance, whatever. And it made me feel good. And 15 minutes in, I was like, man, I'm kind of getting a little bit tired. And I was like, I'm going to push myself. After 10 minutes, I went 5 more minutes and I could feel it. But then you kind of start to feel that little sickness. And usually I would push through it because if I was with anybody, I'm just thinking of any person I've been at the gym with, they're like, keep going, don't stop, go, and like push yourself to that limit. But I was just like, if I push myself right now to go this 5 extra minutes is going to turn me off to the next week.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to want to do this again. You know what I mean? And I had to listen to my body. I had to listen to myself and say, okay, I'm an advocate for my body right now and say, I'm done right now. And I'll come back to this again tomorrow and maybe do a little bit more. I didn't finish the whole 20 minutes, but I did what I went there to, like, did there to go feel good. If I would have kept pushing myself, it would have been a bad experience and it wouldn't have been enjoyable anymore. So
why don't I ask this question that just came in, and then we'll probably have to close it off for tonight.
looks like, yeah.
Okay. So, Priscilla was asking, what's the best way to help your partner understand a little bit deeper of our struggles with body positivity? Yeah, that's a good question, Priscilla. So when I started my journey, my partner didn't know anything about any of it. In fact, he had no idea that, a lot of women really struggle with their body. And really how I ended up getting kind of him on board or on side with it was I talked about my struggles. I was just really open and honest with him about, especially when I was at like the worst of it, I was just hating my body. And I just shared with him how hard that was for me. And I shared with him what I was reading. So we would actually listen to podcasts together. I would ask him, like, would you be open to listening to this podcast episode with me? And he would. So we listened to a few podcast episodes together. And I just, I was so passionate that this became my world that I talked about it nonstop. And he really started to understand it more. And, we're now at the side where like he's sharing it with other people and like his colleagues at work. And, he'll hear women that he's working with talking about their bodies and he'll be like, actually, like, you don't need to lose weight to be healthy. And he didn't know this at the beginning, but it was just through me asking if he would be open. And it was also sharing my struggles. Like he saw and I was very real and very honest with him about how I was feeling. And, he was just, because he loves me and he wanted to see me happy. he was on board with it. And that's how I was able to share it. But like, to me, like listening to a podcast episode that you really like and resonate with is a great way so that he can hear that information too. It's not just you saying it. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I love that he said you don't have to lose weight to be healthy. Because that's a huge misconception, and a lot of people would believe that. But I just like when people know that, because it's rare that you would know that, but it's like, I didn't know that. I wish somebody would have told me, because that would have saved me a lot. I feel like, well, we can talk about this next time, hopefully, but diets also help you gain weight. And so doing diets over and over again, it ends up not being healthy because you're restricting and then you're gaining the weight again. And there's just so many reasons.
Well, it's
healthy should not be in the same category.
Yeah. It's the one thing that's been actually proven as one of the ways to guarantee weight gain in the long run is to actively be on a diet, because the body has a weight range that it's actually comfortable in, and when we start to restrict and starve it, and it will rebel, and it will think the body's starving. And so what will happen is it will regain the weight eventually. Like 95% of people who lose weight regain it within 2 to 5 years. And those who don't regain it tend to either be people who are really heavy into the disordered eating or have an eating disorder, or they just might actually have been at a weight, like now became into this, maybe they were sort of sitting on the high end for a long time and are just like, they lost some weight and their body's comfortable there. But it's such a very, very small percentage that are able to actually keep the weight off, because the body's actually much more comfortable holding on to weight than too little weight. And I kind of liken it to, when a baby is born, it is so it is every mother and parent's worry that the baby's gaining weight, because if it doesn't, it dies. And that's the same, when somebody's sick, they lose weight. And so, we can unpack, this takes a whole nother hour to unpack all of this.
Yeah, we definitely, hopefully we can.
And a lot of the
because I would love for you to. Please go ahead, say what you're going to say, sorry.
Yeah, it's just, there's so many misconceptions about it. And really the reality is our desire to lose weight comes from growing up in a culture that has conditioned us from the moment we are born to believe that this particular body is the best. And so when we believe that and internalize that, and it now means we now have this own oppression internalized within ourselves, it's really difficult to see that we can be happy in any other body, and that to understand that it's not actually the body that is the issue. It's how we feel about ourselves. And like I said, this is not easy. This is not snap my fingers and tomorrow I just feel great about myself no matter how I look. No, this takes work. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And that's why, like I said, it's why I do what I do with the personal coaching, because we can go into some really intense emotions that come up when we start to go into this. But ultimately what working on body acceptance is about is ultimately our own freedom.
Yes. All this time we've been told, like you said, there's that standard, and we put the pressure on ourselves because there's a standard that we have to be a certain size, and we're shown it through different things, and that's part of diet culture.
I want to just address a comment. So one of the biggest misconceptions is that weight makes us unhealthy. And that's not proven to be true. That's actually, it's not the weight itself. So reading the books, Health at Every Size. So I'm going to recommend actually 3 books that people can read that unpacks weight science and what this is actually about. Health at Every Size by Dr. Linda Bacon is the first one, and that's a big one. Okay, that's a thick book. It's gonna jam packed with information. So yeah, as you have it in front of you, you can see like it's a thick one. Yeah, so that's the book. The other book to read, if you want to kind of have more of a shorter version of that, is called Body Respect by, so it's actually written by Dr. Linda Bacon and also Lucy Aphramore. So that's sort of a smaller version, but you're going to get a lot of the same information. And then another book I highly recommend too is called The Body of Truth by Harriet Brown. So I would recommend those books. And there's one thing I wanted to mention too, is that somebody's asking how do you know what your natural weight is?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And how you know what your natural weight is really is when you're eating in a way that is attuned to your hunger and fullness cues, but also eating in a way where you're living your most kind of joyful life. So when I say hunger and fullness cues, that may mean sometimes I overeat because I just love the food that I'm eating so much, or I'm, having a meal with some friends and it's really delicious. So where I'm living life that feels joyful for me, I'm moving in a way that feels good for my body. So I'm resting when I need to. I'm not over exercising. I'm not trying to control my diet. And the thing is that my weight is going to fluctuate when I'm doing that, because our lives are not static. Okay. We don't just live our entire life like this. Our life goes like this, depending on what's happening in our lives. So we try to control our body and control our diet, because oftentimes it's the one thing we only feel like we can control, but we're always going to come up against problems then because we're not moving with the flow of our life. So sometimes I may be more active because I have more time to do it, or maybe I don't know, I'm won the lottery and I'm taking 3 months to go hiking in Spain, and now I may lose weight if I do that because I'm more active, right? But if I'm now just working my office job and I have a ton of things happening and I might not be as active, so I might gain weight. And that's okay. That's okay. Another thing I just want to mention too is, this is a huge topic. And body acceptance affects people differently too. I just listened to a really amazing podcast episode. If you're familiar with Summer Inanen, she has a podcast called Fearless Rebel Radio. And she interviewed me for it. I'll be on the podcast in a few weeks. But I listened yesterday to an amazing episode that she has, where she interviewed Isaiah Bartlett, who is a trans person, and he talks about gender dysphoria and body image. So that was a whole other aspect that, when we talk about body positivity, it extends outside of not just, that's a whole other way of relating to your body that is so deep and personal to somebody who's going through that process of maybe changing identities, gender identities. So that is a highly, it's episode 126 on Fearless Rebel Radio with Isaiah Bartlett. So I just wanted to also recommend that episode. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's what I love about body acceptance. It doesn't matter if you're transitioning, if you're male, female, body acceptance means something different to everybody. Men and women can relate to it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And if you guys didn't get those names, maybe we can try to post those later, Kristina, or you can send them to me.
Yeah.
I can put those in the stories as well. So if you guys want to check those out, I want to check out that podcast for sure, and definitely want to check you out when you do the interview when you're in the podcast as well for that one. It's great stuff. All right. And Kristina had one more thing to say. She's going to read us something.
Yeah, I wanted to share if you're not following Virgie Tovar, you definitely should. She's a fat activist. She is amazing. So follow her on Instagram, you know, Facebook. She writes a lot for, I think it's Refinery 29. She has a column called Take the Cake. And it's like her article that she writes, which is so good. But she has this quote that I'm actually going to be posting to my Instagram in a little while, but I wanted to kind of close with it because I think what it does is she encapsulates so well our current relationship with food and exercise. So she says, you know, human beings need food and movement to survive. Diet culture steals food and movement, deeply pathologizes them, then commodifies them and sells them back to us. And that's really what diet culture is. If we just can attune and listen to our bodies and take our cues from what feels right for us, that's really our best measure of health and what we should eat and when we should eat and when we should sleep and move. We have the answers inside of us, not somebody else telling us what we need to do. So relearning to trust ourselves and trust our body could be like a huge process. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time, but it's possible. And that's why I'm here and why I do what I do, because I know the pain and the struggle of dissatisfaction. I know what it's like to be sucked right into diet culture and the wellness world, which is diet culture just hidden under the guise of health and wellness. But now just the freedom like that I feel and just being in my body is so much different and so much more relaxing, even though I don't even know how much weight I've gained because my scale has been out of my apartment for like 2 years now. And I don't ever feel like I need to weigh myself again. Thank you so much for inviting me to chat with you, Marissa.
Thank you, Kristina.
I think you're amazing. And I love what you're posting. And every time, like, I think I saw this picture of you at Coachella and I was like, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness, yes. I had so much fun at Coachella. And I remember I definitely let the belly out at Coachella.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is now when I put on clothes before, I was thinking too, before I used to want to challenge myself and like wear a crop top or wear shorts or something. And I was challenging myself. It's like, okay, what are people going to say if I go out? Like, no, I'm going out. This is my body, you know? And now when I put on clothes like that, it's just another day. I don't even think twice about it. I don't even care. And I love that. And it's just growth, you know,
amazing.
Over some amount of years. And it took time to get to that place. And those pictures, I'm not going to lie, I do feel really happy when I look at those pictures and stuff. Because I'm just like, I did, you know, like I'm good. I'm glad I'm accepting myself the way that I am.
Yeah. And I mean, people need to, like, we need to see that. And that's part of the issue is we don't see diverse bodies represented in a positive light in our world, in the media. So thankfully for places like Instagram, where we see people who are just unapologetically living their lives in their bodies, no matter what size that they are. But I always kind of come back to this for myself, you know, when I put on weight and now like I sit down when I'm teaching yoga and I've got belly rolls and whatnot. And you know, the thought will come like, oh God, like what if people don't want to take a class with you now because you don't look like the quote unquote perfect yogi. And all I could think of was like, gosh, I would love to see more teachers who looked like they were in, you know, who were in different bodies. And then I thought, so then guess what? Who's going to do it if you're not? So, exactly. You know, I love like that quote, like from Gandhi. I have it on like my little mouse pad, so cheesy. But, you know, it's like, be the change you wish to see in the world. So the more of us that can start to live that, you know, we just then make it okay for maybe somebody else to say, I'm just going to live my life as I do too. And I can live in this bigger body and be perfectly okay and happy. So I'm grateful, Marissa, to people like you who are, you know, just living out there, having an amazing, beautiful life, looking gorge in your outfits, and because you post so many amazing. I'm just like, I like her style. She dresses a lot more sexy and fun than I do.
Thank you. So don't do that. It's almost 100 out here. it's not 100 anymore. The weather kind of went down. But thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Your support as well, and doing what you do, because I see a lot of comments on here right now, and I know I'm throwing it back at you, but I do accept that compliment. That's a huge compliment coming from you, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much for saying that. It means a lot. It's come a long way, and I hope to go further.
Oh, you're so on the path. It's happening. It's happening. It's already happening.
I appreciate that.
All right.
And so thank you for posting everything. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of compliments, and a lot of people are saying, please do this again. Thank you guys for the compliments too. And a lot of people are saying, do this again, do this again. So I hope that means you get to get together again. What you're doing right now is great. You're spreading the message of body positivity, body acceptance. There's so many different pieces to it, and I love just the way that you deliver it in just little pieces here and there. It makes you think, and I love to think. I'm the type of person where I gotta, you gotta keep the wheels moving in my head because it's inspiration. And so when I see your stuff, it makes me think, why do we do that? Why do I do that? And I love that. I love to think about those things and question myself, because it's not in a place where you're preaching to me. It's just a place where you're asking me a question, and I'm just answering it, and answering it honestly to myself. And so, yeah, so I'm really excited, and I hope if you guys want to follow Kristina, I'm going to have her her name in my stories. And if you guys need to follow me, I think my name's up there at the top. It's Marblicious, and you can just screenshot it and just go ahead and add me. I'll add you back, especially if you were in the chat today and I don't know you. Just add me, send me a message, let me know hey, I was in the chat, and I'll be sure to add you guys back. I mean, follow you, I say add like wrong.
We were almost on Facebook.
Almost on Facebook. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for being here.
And being here with us to talk about this. As you can tell, we're both really passionate about this. Thank you, Kristina.
Thank you, Marissa.
I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Enjoy your Sunday. Go live your best life. And yeah.
No pressure, though. If you're having a bad day, have a bad day.
Let yourself.
And that is part of your best life, right? Is, something I was just thinking about is like, we just also got to allow ourselves to just have the ups and downs, because that's part of it. How do we know the ups if we don't know the downs?
Exactly. And oh man, see, you're getting me started again. But you mentioned that too. Just like when we feel bad about like being this or being that, it's just like, it's not about feeling bad about that, because we already have day-to-day roller coasters. You don't need to be worrying and adding a whole other roller coaster about what you eat and what you're not eating. That's too many. That's too many terms and everything. That's a big roller coaster, and we're doing that to ourselves. And we just gotta focus and let yourself feel. Let yourself feel down. Let yourself feel up. If you're having a bad day, it's okay. Let yourself have that bad day, and make a plan to have a better day another day.
Yeah, love it. All right, we should go, or else we're gonna be on here for like another hour. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kristina Bruce. Follow her, Kristina Bruce _coach. Follow me at Marblicious, MARBLICIOUS. We will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Bye.